And hello, Tom Meyer, and in my hi to in my entire storehouse tour of my storehouse tour, and I'm pretty much thank you for what I was hoping for, and I'll say you is in fact I built my storehouse in the end, which will be pretty awesome. And I'll say though, in fact we are gonna take my tour into my store house because in fact we have furnace workbench, a double chest, a furniture with a dining area, we got a sink and such. But I don't have any torches and such. But I'm good to know that get these torches in. But in fact, I'm gonna have some torches to make sure we light up this place. But in fact, I'm gonna light up this place pretty much a bit. But once we light this place up, it will be pretty easier to look at the front. But in fact, I don't am good, and I may have gotten something broke, but I'm gonna fix it. But in fact, that was my fault as well, as I'm gonna say. Is in fact, I'm gonna now give you the shot to this player named, I'm gonna check his name, and his name is Chip. For this creation, but in fact this is a great shot to him, as he is pretty awesome. But I'm gonna and right now in my bed we got bed and such. I'm gonna add some more chests to my room, and it will be pretty decent in the inside. But in fact, I'm gonna add some torches here. Yeah, some lane to make sure we have some line over here. But in fact, it looks like everything looks pretty awesome. But I am already my Hytale in the works. But we are now entering my third 4 day on Hytale, because we are now saying that I may have bridged to my small lake where I can swim and such inside, as that just looks pretty awesome. But I'm also getting some entire working on my build, but we also got to now focus. But in fact, this is looking pretty smooth. But I'm gonna do it this time. But we also to now focus on my world. but in fact, everything just looks pretty solid. But in fact, it will look like everything looks pretty awesome with the RTX one, which is pretty awesome. But right now I'm at about 70% of my memory, which is pretty like not that great, but yes, 70% is just not that good because I haven't had this memory at high in like months, but I'm gonna feel that this is looking pretty good. But we are also focusing on this like other piece of land, which I'm have to now decide on that. But in fact, I am now focusing on this particular side of this world. But in fact, I'm gonna do some more work soon tomorrow as planned. And I'm off work on Martin Luther King, and I'm gonna upload my next Hytale video, and I'm gonna do some like creative work on the outside my house. But as you can now see, everything looks pretty awesome. But I'm gonna sleep and sleep, and I'm gonna get some sleep, and I'm gonna wake up, and as you can now see that this RTX graphic design of Hytale looks pretty solid. But I'm also getting some work on the front of this. But I'm also working to make my farm like somewhere over here, but I don't know what. But I'm gonna have to now make some more like land to my build. But I'm gonna get some land done so I can make sure we get some land, and I can start focusing on the outside. But I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna make sure we get some land, and I'm gonna expect to now destroy about what I'm gonna destroy on how many woods I can find, and we are gonna have to now do it. But I'm gonna do it as well because we can now expand our land to what I'm gonna expect for today. But we are gonna chop down on how much wood I'm gonna chop down from now on. So we are at 3 wood, 4 right now. 4 right now. But in fact, 4, I'm gonna do out how much wood I'm gonna like I'm gonna do some work over here. I'm gonna get to now get this done. But I'm gonna get things done as well. I'm gonna get this work done, but in fact, I'm gonna make some land like over here. But I'm gonna make some land so we can get some everything to be done. But once we get this done, I can now focus on the entire overall rural area. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do some work over here. I'm gonna keep this wood by, I don't know how much bump up, but I'm gonna get that done so I can expand my world. But it looks like everything looks pretty top to bottom. But in fact, I'm gonna make that world look pretty decent. I'm gonna make sure we can get some. Like I'm gonna get some flat ground in. But I'm gonna make sure we can. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it set to like. I'm gonna now check out this part if we can get some ground and I can get extended. So I'm gonna get this stone off, and I'm gonna get this stone off, and I'm gonna make this like layout. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do this part as to what I was hoping for, but in fact it will take time. But in fact it will take time. But in fact I'm gonna make sure we can get this part done. But in fact I am also focusing on Minecraft and such. But I'm also getting things done as to what I was hoping for, but yeah. so far, I'm gonna make sure we can get this done. And now, hope for, in fact, we are also focusing on this half here. I can now hope for, in fact, we are also focusing here. But in fact, I'm gonna make sure it's done.